Alex Jones. This is the most anticipated thing I ever did. I've probably had, no exaggeration, 2,000 or 3,000 people in the last year and a half ask me, when are you going back on Joe Rogan? And I'm always saying, I don't know. And then I learned you were moving here like 3-4 months ago, and now we're here, and this is exciting. I don't get butterflies anymore, but I actually have them here, and this is great. It's good to have butterflies after about 20 years. It's a Faustian deal mixed with Babylonian and religious stuff from Tyre to set up a German secret society of the Illuminati, which then has become one of the dominant secret societies. And in there, they do actual satanic rituals. They get in coffins. They do simulated human sacrifices. I was told by a high-level source that major Hollywood producers, by name, ran a cult where they branded women next to their vagina.
The Nixium thing.
But I put it out 2 years before it broke. So I was told this by a high-level source.
I remember you talking to me about it. What you said did turn out to be true.
Yeah.
As fantastic as it sounded, as outrageous, as ridiculous, it turned out to be true.
First time,
now it's in the news.
If you go back to like the 1870s when Mark Twain set up, it was classically liberal. It was partying. It was their own 27 acres. It was saloons. They brought in female hookers. There was gay guys in there, everything. Richard Nixon, on the Richard Nixon tape, says it's a gay orgy. Robert De Niro made a movie. Matt Damon made a movie. It took over Bohemian Grove around 1900. Skull and Bones, Order 322, the Illuminati Germanic death cult. It's a gay orgy.
Wee! What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and the salt hath floweth all over Twitter. Angry blue check marks. People demanding the removal of the Joe Rogan podcast featuring Mr. Jones and Tim Dillon. People demanding, screaming to the sky that they're canceling their Spotify memberships simply because one episode of one show that they don't watch anyway aired somebody that they really don't like. Let's look at the world's reaction. You know, the actual people. See, the idea that these angry blue check marks live in their own weird bubble is something that all of us know. I don't think they actually know that there is currently 203,000 upvotes to just 8,000 downvotes. If we compare that to the Kanye West episode, for example, this episode has 270,000 up to 22,000 down and 8.7 million views on YouTube. If we look at previous episodes, obviously, you had Maynard James Keenan on, even Matthew McConaughey, 3 million. This episode is going to be one of Joe's most watched. Now, the only thing missing from it was it is Sober October for Joe, so he wasn't able to partake in the uplifting that Mr. Jones was able to. However, there were still plenty of classic moments. Part of what I enjoyed the most about this episode was how frantically Joe and his team was trying to fact check Alex. And by the way, something they should do, probably knew that they'd have to do, and just how often he actually was 100% correct, or generally correct. He might say, 94%, but it was actually like 75%. Either way, his point would stand. And tonight, people are reacting and doing exactly what you would expect. You can see Sophia Narwitz putting together a nice little montage here. Blue check marks losing their minds. Why I quit Spotify when they announced this deal with Joe Rogan because F him and the other guy, F Spotify. I'm sure they'll miss you and your 11 followers. They have Robin here posting blue checks seething. You love to see it. You see, of course, Sleeping Giants. Congrats on paying $100 million for the privilege of platforming a man who, by the way, he was paid for. Yes, he was, he paid for his mistakes in the past, but no one will ever let him get past that. Joe Passantino, why is Joe Rogan hosting Alex on his show again? It's dangerous at any time, but especially now. Yeah, especially now. Molly Young fasting. Joe Rogan should be deeply ashamed for platforming a lunatic. What an idiot. Alan saying, your Spotify subscription fails to compensate musicians but does fund this. Oh, I don't know. When I see a blue check mark, even when I read Dank's tweets, I'm like, I kind of use the voice in my head. And then you have Newsweek covering Alex Jones on Joe Rogan podcast sparks outrage. People canceling their Spotify accounts. Now, allegedly canceling their Spotify accounts. Now, we know, for example, when people talked about canceling their Netflix subscription over their little film that they enjoyed, they actually did it. We saw it come out in the numbers a few months later. We'll see if this actually has any hit to Spotify. I'm guessing a few people might have, but it will pale in comparison to the tens of thousands or maybe hundreds of thousands that Joe Rogan brought to the platform for his $100 million. Joe Rogan is facing backlash from a number of Spotify listeners, 12, after hosting, none of these articles, by the way, none of these articles are unbiased. They all call him like a far right and all this stuff. He's not. Actually, he discusses that on the show. With 1 week to go before the U.S. election, Joe Rogan platformed the controversial guest, leaving many people upset at the nature of what was discussed, declaring their intentions to cancel their accounts with the streaming platform. Jones was banned from a number of platforms, including Spotify, last year, and his previous appearance on Joe Rogan Experience has not been added to Spotify as part of Rogan's deal. The 3-hour episode saw them discuss topics in a wide range, including the spicy laptop. Now, this article uses, of course, prominent anti-free speech lunatics on Twitter to bolster its point that people are canceling or walking away from Spotify over this. I don't believe that they are. I think that most people use Spotify to listen to music. I think that most people who pay for Spotify are completely unaware of podcasts, are completely unaware of, the politics behind whether or not you're allowed to platform certain people, according to prominent moron Nathan Bernard, who had a meltdown about it. Joe Rogan said kids are getting thick. He talks about some of the topics that are, just no-nos anywhere else. And then you put this Zenny Jardin, why I quit Spotify. Let's see exactly who you are. I'm sure you're a hugely popular creator. Let's see. 150,000 followers. That's barely more than me. And I see you are a maniac, apparently. Since YouTuber Kyle Hill added, Joe Rogan gives a voice and a platform to dangerous nonsense, egregiously uncritical thinking. If you're a fan, give this episode a pass. Do better, Joe. Yeah, it'll be one of his most popular episodes ever. And look, one thing I'll never really understand about these morons is that rather than whining and whinging about, giving a platform, if anyone ever says you platform this or platform that, that's a dangerous road to go down. And anybody who would rather deplatform people than counter with their own ideas, these are extraordinarily dangerous people. And we see, the CEOs of Twitter and Google and Facebook on Capitol Hill today, which I'll cover in a different video. And that's what you get, basically. You get censorship. You get, let's see, Christine Pelosi. Okay, are you like Nancy Pelosi's daughter? I don't know why you're in here. You seem like an idiot. Let's see. You're the chair of the Women's Caucus General Counsel in California. Okay, so you have nothing interesting to say. You're not really anybody of note other than who your mom is. Alex Jones was mean to me. He called other things hoaxes and harassed families. Right. Again, he paid for that. He lost a big lawsuit, if I remember correctly. However, many Rogan supporters have defended his choice to feature who he wants as a guest on the show and railed against censorship from the streaming giant. Podcasters Holly and Michael tweeted, absolutely disagree with Jones. However, I believe in free speech, even if I'm disgusted by what is said. Stop trying to censor people. You forget when you're censored, no one will be left to defend you. Enough. Change the dial. Joe Rogan can have guests. you don't have to listen. Sounds like a really smart person. A rare good take from a certified blue checkmark, I would suppose. You see a podcaster, Sangar Enjeti, sorry, I probably mispronounced that. Joe Rogan flexing on Spotify employees, letting them know who's in charge for now. While another Twitter user wrote, much respect to Joe Rogan for having him on. Eventually, we need to reclaim free speech on all social networks or leave these authoritarian sneaks in the dust. Lol, Spotify tried to cancel, censor and cancel Joe Rogan, and he just goes, F you, here's Alex. I mean, he's not wrong. And then you have this guy, goodbye, Spotify. You had an easy customer in me. Lost it with your love of Alex. Again, just because Joe Rogan gives a platform to somebody you don't like doesn't mean necessarily that Spotify endorsed it. It's different, let's say, with the film where Netflix actively goes out and pays for a film and actively goes out to defend a film. They're clearly taking a position defending that film. Spotify, I'm sure, did not like this. I'm sure that they are having many meetings today about, this particular podcast and what's going to be done about it. I wouldn't be surprised if there were walkouts today. By the way, the average salary at Spotify is over $90,000 a year. I'm sure they will be easily replaced. You see one person, posting this, not even proof that they canceled it. Like, they just filled this out and then they didn't actually cancel. A lot of idiotic, hateful broadcasting. I can't boycott because I wasn't watching or listening already. This is another case. Good for you. I mean, look, a lot of people canceled their Netflix subscriptions because they didn't like what they did with certain episodes. If you want to cancel Spotify, you certainly can, but don't act like any of these people, I just don't believe any of these people believe that Spotify actually stands behind this episode. I think that there's language in Joe Rogan's contract that allows him to platform anyone he wants, and Spotify agreed to this begrudgingly. And if there was any doubt who runs the show, Joe Rogan came out and let us all know in no uncertain terms that, yeah, he's doing what he wants. In a statement, Spotify CEO Daniel Ek expressed that the company had reviewed the episode and decided against removing it from the platform. That's a previous episode. In the case of Joe Rogan, a total of 10 meetings have been held with various groups and individuals to hear the respective concerns. And some of them want Rogan removed because of things he said in the past. Others have concerns over a recent episode, Ek continued, and Joe Rogan and the episode in question have been reviewed extensively. The fact that we aren't changing our position doesn't mean we're not listening. It just means we made a different call. I mean, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. And all the press, Spotify criticized after Joe Rogan interviews. It is an interesting gray area. We can look at Twitch, for example. When you've been banned from Twitch, no other Twitch streamer is even allowed to have you on. We saw this with Dr. Disrespect. You get into a weird gray area where you're not even allowed to appear accidentally on somebody else's stream once you've been banned. The 3-hour episode, by the way, absolutely amazing. I know that a lot of what Alex says is just flat out wrong, or theories, right? But a lot of what he says is also correct. He gets it right a lot. And whether you agree or disagree with what he has to say, there's no denying that he is one of the best, most entertaining people on the planet. If he wasn't, there's no way he would have survived. Think about it. Every major tech company went after him at once. Spotify, YouTube, his email service, his web host service, everybody. And he still survived. If the man wasn't entertaining, and not only survived, but thrived. If he wasn't entertaining, never would have happened. I hope he's there on the election night stream. I'm going to be probably doing my own election night stream, but I'll definitely check that out. My puppy Huck comes home today. I may do a live stream with Huck tonight. If you want to see Huck on the show tonight, make sure you smash that like button on this video. You click that red subscribe button down below so you might actually get notified. I appreciate the support as we march to 1 million subscribers. We'll talk to you again real soon.